What's going on, Fight fans? This is Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Rob Jarrell, and this is the preview of this weekend's big middleweight and junior middleweight PBC matchup that's coming on Showtime tomorrow, Saturday, April 7th. We have three really good fights. One building with Julian Williams versus Nathaniel Gallimore. We have Caleb Truax defending a belt against James DeGale that he won a few months ago. It's the IBF super middleweight title. And we have champion Jared Hurd versus Landy Lara for the IBF and the WBA junior middleweight title that's up for grabs. I believe Hurd has the IBF and Lara has the WBA. And we know how the WBA, they have like 17 champions for one belt. It's neither here nor there. But let's get started. And I'm on my computer because my memory is shot. I almost forgot about this matchup, to be honest. So let's take a look. Now, we know since his loss to Jermell Charlo, Julian Williams has been trying to build himself back up with pretty decent competition because he got knocked the hell out in that fight, which he was making his first step up for a belt. And he was making a good account of himself against a bigger Charlo, but Charlo was just able to catch him in between his punches with that hellacious uppercut. Now, Julian Williams is strong. He has great speed and athleticism. He can hit hard, and he does a lot of little things that you learn in Philly from his trainer, Stephen Edwards. So it'll be interesting to see him continue to build himself up, but he's got a tough matchup in Nathaniel Gallimore, who only has one loss. And I've seen him fight. He beat Justin DeLoach, which was a great win for him. And he's had a lot of undefeated or once beaten fighters that he's fought. Justin DeLoach, Angel Baez, he fought a Jason Rosario. I do remember that Baez fight and the DeLoach fight because I was really high on Justin DeLoach. So he hasn't had it easy coming up. And he lost to, looks like a Greek guy, Stapoulonis. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. But he is going to be tough. Nathaniel Gallimore is about 1 or 2 inches taller. He's only got one loss. He's 21-1. And he has 17 KOs, which means he has really good pop. But Julian Williams, we know he's continued to polish. But the knock on him right now, they're about the same height, 5'11". But will he do enough? Will he make that statement? His last few fights, he hasn't looked as impressive as he has coming up. He had a rough outing versus a tough Ishe Smith, who is a former champion. He knocked out some guy named Joshua Conley who had one loss, but it's neither here nor there. But he hasn't really had too many named guys coming up except for Joey Hernandez, but that's not really going to help you build what you need to build against the Charlo. He should win this fight, but he needs to look great in doing it if he's going to start building himself back up and putting himself back into contention. Nathaniel Gallimore is the guy who's got a decent name that he can do it against, but it won't be pretty. He's got to look impressive. I'm picking Williams in a hard-fought fight. He had an unusual nastiness to him, and he's going to need to bring that in this fight, because if he doesn't, he may still be kind of in the middling portion of the junior middleweight division. But I'm picking Julian Williams. He's shown me enough that he can win, but he's going to be up against it. Nathaniel Gallimore is going to give him quite the challenge. Then we have the rematch with Caleb Truax versus James DeGale. In the first fight, Truax came through and really put everything he had into that first fight. And deservedly so, he won that fight. James DeGale is a guy who has a ton of talent, is fast, has great punching ability, but he fights up and down to his competition. And Caleb Truax, who is consistently hungry, normally fights at middleweight, moved up. He's going to continue to bring it, but James DeGale, this might have been the wake-up call that he's needed, because ever since he lost to George Groves, he's put up great fights versus great competition. But the knock on him is he takes rounds off and he gets caught against the ropes. He allows his opponents to push him against the ropes and keep him there. And this is exactly what Truax did. He grinded him out over 12 rounds, which James DeGale cannot allow. He has to move. He has to keep Truax missing. He has to stay off the ropes. If he's going to be on the ropes again for this fight, then it's going to be the same outcome, and he cannot have that. I think he comes in better shape, and I think he will be more determined. But will Truax match that same determination with what he had in the first fight? And I think he will. He's got to work behind that jab, and he's got to continue to move forward. He's always got to move forward. While James DeGale just cannot keep up so much space because even he'll look like he's getting beat, and he'll also be getting beat. Because sometimes you give up too much space and you may be winning and getting the cleaner punches, but your opponent looks like he's winning that fight. He can't allow that to happen. He's got to move laterally and try to hit him with that superior speed, and he's got to be prepared for this fight. I think Chunky DeGale pulls it out, but I think it's another pretty hard-fought match, but he's got to come to fight. He's got to know what's on the line, and he cannot take Caleb Truax lightly because he did in the first fight, and we saw how that happens. Sorry, I got to replace the battery in my fire detector. Sorry, smoke detector. Can't even talk. Now that brings us to the main event, which is Jarrett Hurd versus Erislandy Lara. This is an interesting matchup, and I'm picking Hurd in this fight. Lara is much more athletic. Well, not much more athletic, but he's more athletic. He's got better technique. But his problem is, like DeGale, is that he gives up too much space. But his thing is that he's giving up too much space. He wants to move around. He's never set. And when you're never set to punch, you're taking away a lot of power. When he can set himself to punch, then he can knock a guy out. But the knock on him is he doesn't want to be in that firefight. And Jarrett Hurd has looked great coming up. He beat my boy... oh my God, I'm so terrible. I told you my memory is shot. But he beat my boy Austin Trout. I'm a huge fan of his, but he beat him. He knocked him. He made him quit. And he beat Tony Harrison by KO in a fight that he was getting outboxed, but not necessarily beat. He beat a tough Oscar Molina, Jojo Dan, Frank Galarza. So he's really been working to come up. And being that Lara is only about 5'9", 5'10", Jarrett Hurd is huge for this division. He's 6'1", and he's very bulky. He's physically strong. And he can box. He has good reflexes. Not necessarily a true power puncher, not necessarily fast, but he's quick. And when he wants to, he will change up styles on you. Where he will go from boxing and punching to straight up, I'm going to walk you down. You may get hits on me, but you're not going to deter me. I'm going to literally beat you down. That's what he did to Trout, and that's what he did to Harrison. And he is really good at finding the timing. In that first fight, he's always losing at the beginning because Trout was putting hands on him. He looked great. But then he started pushing the pace, constantly coming forward. And when you have a chin like Hurd's, you can do that. When you have that kind of determination of power and physical strength, you can do that. And for Lara, he's lost fights when he's been up against guys who moves forward and kind of throws some of the defense to the wind. Granted, Hurd can make you miss, but to me, he's at best when he's moving forward and he will literally drop his hands and let you swing. And next thing you know, like I said, he's quick, so he can just throw the punch and boom. And they're heavy punches. And it's usually accumulation of damage over rounds. It's nothing like a one-hitter quitter or anything like that. So with Lara being Lara, he's going to keep moving around and giving up space. But we saw in the Angulo fight how that went. We saw in the Canelo fight, which a lot of people thought he won. But the thing about it is Canelo kept moving forward and coming after him. Angulo was able to knock him down. We saw that in the Martirosyan fight. So anyone who can encroach his space, get in there, make him work, push the pace, make him uncomfortable, has a great chance of beating him. So I'm looking for Hurd to take this. He's not going to knock him out. I don't think he's going to knock him out because Lara is not one to put himself in a whole lot of danger. But because Lara is going to be constantly almost running around the ring, Hurd's got to chase him. But the thing about it is Hurd doesn't mind chasing you. He has those type of legs where he can consistently move forward. That DMB style is a beast to mess with. Lamont Peterson has that same style. He can box and he's fast, but he will walk you down and put you against the ropes, and it's a wrap. So I'm looking for Hurd to take this over 12. I don't see him knocking out Lara, but I see him making Lara look bad and make him look like he's running. And Hurd is going to have the superior ring generalship just because he's going to always be coming forward. So not only will he be winning the fight, but he'll be making it seem like he's trying to make the fight. Tell us what you think. I'm picking Hurd. I'm picking DeGale by split decision. I think Truax would be ready for this fight. I think DeGale will be more motivated. And I'm picking Julian Williams. I don't think it's going to end in a knockout. I think it's going to be a pretty good war, a pretty good battle. Tell us what you think. Like this video, hit the bell icon so you can get notifications. Please share with your friends. There were some changes to YouTube where it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for us to share these videos with you all. So I'm asking you, Hakeem's asked you, share this video. Get your friends in on the video and on the conversation because we want to know what you think. We will always respond to anything that you tell us on the fly. So do that. Keep tuning in. We'll bring the results. And check out Hakeem's video on the preview for, I believe it's UFC 223. Yeah, the preview to 223. We know there was a lot of changes. Conor McGregor out here messing up, doing crazy stuff. You get $100 million. Apparently, your common sense just goes to the wind. So there were a lot of changes. But hey, check it out. Tell them what you think. And until next time, fight on. I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage. Keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane. I told them I don't play. I'm liquid.